Hello, welcome to the channel. If you're meeting for the first time, my name is Daniel and you're welcome to the channel. We are going to be checking out this particular video, which is a debate of Charlie Kirk, and this went down so well. I love the debate, which I choose to bring it to you so that we can also watch, learn, relearn, and also unlearn some certain things which we need to watch in this particular video. So if this is what you watch, if you are IVF mom or you are one way or the other connected to this particular series, please don't forget to like, share this video to someone, and also subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, let's dive into the main video.
If the Constitution was written to benefit only white people, why is it that Asian Americans are the richest people by race in America right now?
Because the Constitution wasn't written to make people rich.
Was the Constitution written in Korean?
The Constitution was written to make people slaves.
Yeah, yet Korean Americans and Vietnamese are actually benefiting the greatest from this American experiment.
Actually, in California, as a direct result of Asian success, there were laws passed that stopped Asian Americans, or Asians period, Asian immigrants, from being able to become citizens or own land.
Chinese Exclusion Act, you don't recall
of Asian
lessons?
success. So no, like structurally there have been many roadblocks.
So you're proving my point precisely?
No, I'm not.
So your point is that we were racist against Asian Americans and now they're the richest in America, so they went through a vast time of inequities and they rose above it and they're much richer per income and wealth than white Americans.
No, that happens because Americans realized that they f***ed up and they lost all of the labor that was going to be possible for people to work on farms in California in order to exploit the land that was in California. There was no way for them to have people to work there, and that's why they brought immigrants back. That's why.
So what social program
America
was designed?
Was literally built on our backs.
That again, swearing and saying things like that doesn't make your argument any more valid. But
okay, but it helps me take out a little bit of my anger.
That's fair.
Which is valid for me
but
to
then if it was rigged for a specific group of people, Asian Americans are the richest by race. The second are Indian Americans, people from India. And the third would be white Americans.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, so how is why is that?
How do you feel about phrenology?
What do you say about racial inequality then on the other side?
So why? No, but explain to me why that is. I could tell you why it is though.
Maybe the top 1 or 5% are the richest. What about the global South? What about the poverty? What about the lowest?
What about okay, so let's talk about
the lowest 50%. What are
in America or globally?
Well, yeah, no, in America. And globally, as well
Okay.
as globally. What's their racial background? What's the racial demographic of that? Mostly people of color, not white people.
But the Asian Americans are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder relatively.
A very small number.
No, in the aggregate. In the aggregate. If you look at the way the data is compiled and presented to us, they are the richest per capita group by race in America. Why? Because over the last 50 years, Asian Americans graduated from high school in record numbers. They did not commit crimes.
Because you're smarter than you. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's an that's a racist argument you just made.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into eugenics, but you just said you're smarter. I don't think that. I don't think any race is smarter.
There are other races that haven't done what you're describing.
Because okay, the two groups that are poorest by race in America are Native American Indians and African Americans. We've done the most to try to help them over the last 50, 60 years. We have the Bureau of Native American Affairs in the federal government. We spent $22 trillion in the federal government trying to help Black America, and Black America is poorer today than before we tried to start to help them. $22 trillion.
Racism that just exists in the system.
Okay, so your argument institutional racism. My argument is failed policies that Lyndon Baines Johnson, a bitter and committed racist, you and I will both agree, and a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who didn't want to sign the Civil Rights Act, passed the Great Society, which clustered.
JFK was going to sign the Civil Rights Act?
Well, he wanted to before he was.
He was definitely not going to.
So you're right. The Democrats were opposed to it. You're right. The Northeast Democrats.
LBJ was definitely for it because he was from South Texas.
So what did he call the Great Society bill?
Oh no, LBJ was a racist because he was an old white man.
Are all white people racist?
I would say that I think white people have an implicit bias. You can argue with me. I think white people have an implicit bias.
Do you understand how racist it is to think that all white people are racist?
We don't experience systematic racism.
There's a lot of talk about what's happening in Israel right now. Hostages being released, terrorists resurfacing, Gaza plans, and so on. But there's one thing we tend to overlook: the people of Israel. The war has taken a huge physical and emotional toll on the Jewish people. And that's why I want you to know about the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And I want you to support the important work they do. IFCJ is on the ground throughout Israel, providing food and life-saving aid to the sick and elderly, even released hostages and their families. Join with me and visit ifcj.org/learn more. Okay.
Power structures.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So then how did Asian Americans climb up the power structure?
That has
No, so can anyone explain that to me? Because I can't.
Most Asian Americans here, okay? You said Native Americans, Black Americans.
Are the two
they're the
poorest
poor.
by race?
I know.
That's
what
inarguable.
keeps them in common, okay?
What keeps them in common?
They've been here for a while.
Okay, so you know what keeps them in common?
Yeah.
They also get the
explain,
most
okay.
government benefits per capita than any other group in America. Because the way government programs are...
That's a symptom, not a cause.
No. And you can go to almost a direct date. Black America is poorer today than before we started helping Black America. The welfare programs...
By helping even by desegregating, I don't think that's much help.
Okay, so how about this? The Black single motherhood rate in year 1964 was 22%. Now it's 74%. How on earth does that happen? It happens because we subsidize single motherhood through the 70s, 80s, and 90s by saying if you get married, you lose your government benefits.
Birth control for lower income people. That's why.
Then why is it only their community, the Black community, that saw a spike in the single motherhood rate?
Because
they're
they
the
don't
lowest
have the
income.
same access to it because they've been written out of those
But
laws.
weren't Asian Americans written out of the laws in the 1940s and 50s?
No, because they are not black.
Oh, okay, so it's only Black people that experienced a tough 20th century.
No, I'm talking about black people that were specifically written out of these laws.
Asian Americans were written out of laws in the 1940s.
I
We put
understand.
Asian Americans in internment camps.
I understand.
So what you could...
that?
I'm sorry?
You did that?
Well, California Democrats did that in the 1940s under the direction of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Switched positions on those ideas. Did you take U.S. history?
Yeah, I did. That is one of the biggest lies ever taught in U.S. history, and we could talk about that. So, Democrats have always been about control and always been about power. That is the continuity. Republicans have always been about freedom. The Republican Party was founded in 1860 as an anti-slavery... Freedom for all people. The Republican Party was founded as an anti-slavery party for rights of all Americans in 1860, founded in Ripon, Wisconsin, and it has not changed. It has always been about the equality and freedom of all people. The Democrat Party has always been about division.
What do you think about the war on drugs that the Republican
No, I
Party
actually would have more sympathy with you about decriminalizing marijuana and the war on drugs. So. Yeah, I know it's funny to believe in freedom, but
How come whenever we bring up something...
drugs. How is that about freedom?
I'm sorry.
But like Reagan was one of the biggest proponents of the war on drugs. How is that freedom? How is that pro-freedom?
Again, it was a bipartisan agreement, but I would agree. I think that's a valid point.
How come every single thing...
I think it's a well, I mean, I know it might amaze you to say that I actually said you made a valid point that Republicans have been hypocrites on the war on drugs over the last 30, 40 years.
But then can you also
Okay.
recognize that the war on drugs disproportionately hurt people of color, and that's one of the reasons why they haven't experienced the economic gains that you say everybody should have experienced?
So how big of a reason do you think that contributed to the rising single motherhood rate in urban communities?
I mean, if the dad's in jail, then
So why is it only their community that saw the spike in single motherhood
Because
rate?
crack
Despite
cocaine
So many
has
black
a-
fathers were being sent to prison.
and it was only Black communities doing cocaine. It wasn't Hispanic communities or Asian American communities or white American communities doing
then
crack
give us
cocaine.
demographics for those communities.
The cocaine
Don't just
epidemic.
focus on black single motherhood.
Are you triggered, by the way?
We've all seen you be triggered on YouTube as well, so don't act like yelling and being upset is something independent to people on the left.
Well, I get yelled at more than that.
Dude,
But anyway.
Congress showed a 100 to 1.
But let me ask you a question. The crack cocaine epidemic in the 1980s hit all communities. It hit the Black community the worst, but it hit all communities.
Yeah, so
Correct?
it hit all communities, but the black community the worst. Okay, so how come Congress threw it a 100 to 1 sentencing disparity?
No,
with,
again, you're gonna
crack
find
cocaine
you're gonna find sympathy with me in the drug law argument. But you're not gonna find sympathy is that we continually subsidize through these welfare programs and then broken public schools. We can get into that, which is a complete relationship with the Democrat Party and the cartel, which is public sector teacher unions, that does not allow good teachers to be paid more and bad teachers to be fired. Yes, the public sector teacher union is a cartel.
Okay. So you're saying teachers are paid too much?
I'm sorry?
You're saying teachers are paid too
No,
much?
teachers should be paid more and bad teachers should be fired. Under the current way the tenure laws are written and the agreement between the state government of Texas or the state government of Kansas and the public sector teacher unions, bad teachers cannot be fired. It's nearly
Why don't we
impossible
talk
to fire
about police
them.
unions?
Who
Police
built
unions
the
are cartels.
education system in Texas?
Democrats.
Who has been in power for the last 50 years in Texas?
Well, Republicans, just so you know, understand your history, Texas became a red state around like 88. So it was mostly Democrats that built these. So it was Lyndon Baines Johnson that was a Democrat.
Daddy.
And Kay Bailey.
Daddy.
Wait, it's
Wait,
funny.
Lyndon
So
Baines
by the way, so what did he call the Great Society Act since you call him Daddy? He called it No, he called it the N-word bill. He was a bitter and committed racist.
I know he was a racist, but we still got these things through.
You mean the things that kept Black America permanently poor and kept an entire part of the American population without hope? That's something you're proud of?
I'm not an African American person, so I can't speak on that behalf.
But you can look at data.
What other buzzwords?
I don't think you are either, so I don't know if you can speak
But I
on
mean,
that.
like what data do you have to argue
Go to
that?
the library and pull it out.
So guys, let's hear your own thoughts, yes, on your opinion related to this particular one in the comment section. And I might not say a whole lot, but I know you have a whole more to say relating to this one. So thank you. Don't forget to please subscribe, like this video, share this video to your friends and lovers, and subscribe to the channel. So come your way with another one. So where to stay put, stay safe, and stay subscribed. From me to you, it's a bye for now.